So first things first, I was working as an associative dentist under a friend of my father. I took teeth very seriously. I mean, people can forget how important their teeth are, and if you don't take care of them it can cause so many issues to their general health as well. I was at the firm for almost a year and I loved my job. I loved helping people. It really made me happy when a patient flashed me that proud smile after the work was done. I loved my job, until last night my friend Jacob and I were hanging out at a local bar. Jacob and I have been friends since high school and we stayed in touch even though we went different routes for college. Though I was hard at work on my dentistry degree, Jacob spent all his time partying. Jacob is your classic rich boy, who doesn't have to do much at all. Things were guaranteed for him and he was allowed that. Hell, he had just returned from an exotic trip around the world. So when he finally returned, he insisted we hang out. Dude, I'm telling you, you have not lived till you've had something as authentic as that. Jacob exclaimed. So you had bugs? It was more than that, bro. This tribe had to have this whole festival ritual thing and they made me the guest of honor. It was intense, he said as he shook my shoulders. Everyone was naked and high. They were feeding me all sorts of crazy shit. Fuck, it was wild. You had to be there. Hard pass. I laughed. I'm good with a beer every now and then. We continued to catch up. He told me all about his experiences abroad. All he had to do was flash some cash to some locals and they treated him like a king. From odd foods to exotic customs, he was living the life. I tried not to be as jealous of him. I thought maybe after some hard work I could live like that one day. Jacob had always had an air of just charisma around him. All he had to do was show a smile and a little money and he was good to go. Fuck. Jacob cursed loudly as he took a sip of his beer. You good? Yeah, My damn teeth have been aching lately, he said, rubbing his cheeks. You think you can take a look at it? Sure. Yeah, of course. When's a good time for you? Right now's good, he said as he opened his mouth as wide as he could in front of my face. Ack, close your damn mouth. I laughed. You're something else. I'm not going to examine your teeth in the middle of the bar. Make an appointment like everyone else. He finished his drink and proceeded to dump all the ice into his mouth, crushing them in his teeth quickly. It just hurts so damn much, I can't stand it, he complained. Whoa, easy on the ice there, man. Munching on ice won't make it any better. Well, Mr. Dentist, chewing on something is the only thing that soothes it, he hissed. It was a fun night. Despite his pain, he was still the life of the party. He paid for drinks and people loved him. Eventually, he attracted a pair of attractive ladies. You could see him twitch a bit from pain, but he did his best to mask it. Hey, Tim, one for each of us, he yelled out. One of the girls came up to me and we talked for a bit while Jacob was taking shots with the other. I think her name was Melody. We hit it off pretty well. We heard a loud shriek from across the bar. Jacob had a hand over his left cheek and the girl he was talking to was absolutely afraid. She ran to us with tears in her eyes and she grabbed her friend from me. She then proceeded to yell at me. Your fucking friend is a psychopath, she yelled at the top of her lungs. The rest of the bar patrons were looking at us. Hey, hold up, Jacob walked over, chuckling. Let's just forget all this happened and have a good night. What the hell happened? I asked. The girl looked at me and shouted, your friend just tried to fucking bite me. I was taken aback. I looked at Jacob and he just stood there rubbing his cheeks. I tried to apologize, but the girls ended up leaving. We were then questioned by the bar owner and kicked out for causing trouble. When we got outside, I noticed that Jacob took a bar coaster out of his pocket and started stuffing it in his mouth. What the fuck is wrong with you, dude? I didn't know what else to say. He looked at me with a pained look on his face. It just hurts so damn much. You don't understand. You just tried to bite a girl. I don't know what came over me. I just had the urge. I couldn't help it. He looked at me sorrowfully. I honestly didn't know what to do. He wasn't exaggerating though, he was in extreme pain. I told him we would go to his place so I can check it out. He lived in an apartment nearby. I thought it'd be better to get this checked out as soon as possible. When we got to the apartment, Jacob ran to use the bathroom. I started to explore his home and immediately noticed that things were off. It's been a while since I've been to his place, but it was a complete mess. It was like he had a dog or something just run around to his place. Papers were all over the floor, furniture was crooked, and his wooden dining room chair had bite marks on them, and I got close to observe them. They were human bite marks, more than likely Jacob, but there was something wrong with the impressions in the wood. Tried to get closer to study them, but oof. Jacob exhaled as he began to crash onto his couch. Ayawa. He opened his mouth wide. What the fuck? I laughed as I went over towards him. Relax, I'm just checking out your teeth really quick since you wouldn't stop bitching about it. I walked over to the kitchen and washed my hands at the sink. Of course I don't have any tools to properly check out his teeth, but I'll have to make do with what's on hand. I went through his cabinets to find some gloves, and I had to make do with a small desk lamp for lighting. I walked over to the couch where Jacob was and I saw him, gnawing on the base of his index finger. Blood was slowly trickling onto his arm and I fucking panicked. Jacob, what the hell is going on with you? Have you gone crazy? He was breathing heavily. Please, Tim, please. There's something wrong with my mouth. Fuck. Holy shit, man. I grabbed his hand and grabbed a towel to stop the bleeding. We got to get you to a doctor or a fucking exorcist. Jacob's knees buckled and he collapsed onto the floor. He didn't move his jaw, but he spoke to me, please, help. Teeth hurts. Fine. Shit. I took the towel I had and wiped the blood off his mouth. I took the lamplight and shone it onto his teeth as he had his mouth wide open. What I saw makes me fucking sick remembering it. From the front his teeth were fine, pearly white and everything. But behind each tooth and on their crowns were multiple small circles. His teeth weren't decayed or anything, but it was like something small had bored into all of his teeth. What the actual? I tried to peer as closely as possible. His breath was hitting my face. I didn't know what I was seeing. A small red tendril started to come out of each hole on his teeth. Red tentacles were stretching out to my face and I saw each tooth began to crack and open, like tiny white eggs. I shuffled backwards onto my ass. I looked around for my phone. I thought I needed to call a doctor or something. Jacob's mouth was wide open and it was like dozens or small octopi were coming out from his mouth. He looked at me and he said with a garbled tone, "It hurts. Help me." I was just stunned, but I knew if I didn't leave, something was going to happen. I forced my legs with all my might to lift me up and go towards the front door. I turned towards Jacob and saw the hand he bit. His veins were bulging out and pulsating. The veins throbbed up his arm and they proceeded to burst. They weren't his veins. There were more of those red tendrils. I couldn't let out a scream, but tears poured out of my eyes as I tried to escape. I got out of his apartment and ran down the hallway towards the elevators. I didn't want to look back, but all my attention was pulled towards Jacob or whatever that thing was that was behind me. Each of the red tendrils from where his teeth were and the ones that were on his arm, they began to click. No, it was akin to teeth chattering. Fuck. Each tendril had a small mouth full of teeth that wanted to gnaw at my body. Bile began to rise from my stomach, but I couldn't stop. I was so close to the elevator. I slammed my body onto the call button. We were on the top floor. Would the elevator even make it up in time? My mind was racing, and he was getting closer. I had to take the stairs, so I ran over towards them. Suddenly my right foot was yanked from underneath me. The tendrils that exploded from his arm had gotten hold of me. My arms flailed towards the wall, and I got lucky. On my way down, I grabbed the fire extinguisher that was on the wall. I took the extinguisher and began to smash it onto the red rope that had gotten me. It squished as each blow struck it. As soon as it let go, I pulled the pin on the extinguisher and sprayed him with it. In the chaos, I bolted down the stairs. I didn't want to stop. I didn't want to look back. As soon as I got outside of the apartments, I called 911. I was fucking shaking when the police came by and they ran up to the apartment. Don't get too close. Don't let him bite you, I cautioned. The officers looked at me confused, but continued to go into the building. After about 30 or so minutes, they came back down and told me Jacob's apartment door was wide open and they searched for him, no trace at all. They took me to the station and they questioned me about what had happened. They drug tested me and didn't find anything, of course. They told me to go home and try to calm down, that they would let me know if they find Jacob. I'm on my computer now typing out what had happened to me last night. I was sure I wasn't bit, but I don't even know if that's how those things spread or what. I don't know what the hell is going on anymore. I don't know what happened to my friend. I don't know what those things were. I don't fucking know anything. But I remembered, earlier last night when we were at the bar, we accidentally swapped our glasses and I drank from his beer. And now, my teeth hurt.